Hello everybody, my name is Peter Close. I do LeetCode questions on my YouTube channel, and today we're doing toSum, which is LeetCode's very first question. Given an array of integers nums and an integer target, return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. You can return the answer in any order. So 2, 7, 11, 15. 2 plus 7 is equal to 9, therefore return the indices of 2 and 7. Okay, easy question. A lot of likes on this question, and yeah. So let's start. This is kind of my notes for this question, and at the very end, I'll show the full picture so you can actually go through it yourself. And hopefully, these notes are substantial enough that can help you reason through the concept that we're using to solve this question. So I restate the problem right here, and we're going to use this relationship that every integer can be expressed as a summation of two other integers, right? And we're given a target, and we're going to say that this is equal to some integer a plus the remainder. This is like saying 1.53 is 1 plus 0.53. This would be the remainder, except we're just using integers, right? So it would be maybe like 3 is equal to 1 plus 2. 2 is our remainder, etc., or whatever number we have. So target is equal to a plus remainder. Remainder is equal to target minus a. Remainder then is equal to target minus nums of I, the current value that you're at inside nums. So let's go through this example right here. We have 2, 7, 11, 15. What we're going to do is we're going to take this target, 9, and we're going to subtract off this 2. Okay? And the solution, this is going to be our remainder. Now we're going to ask, does our hash map contain this 7? And I'll explain why we use a hash map. We just have to have some data structure to be able to hold these remainders. So we're going to say, does it contain this 7? Because if it contains this 7, we know that this 2 plus that 7 is equal to the 9. In this case, it's the very first value, so it's no. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our current nums that we're at, which is this 2, at the end, and the value is going to be I. So the key is nums of I, and the value is I. We're then going to move up one index to 7. And now we have 9 minus 7 is equal to 2. We're going to say, does the hash map contain 2? And it does, because previously in our map we placed nums of I in our hash map. So all we're going to do is we're going to turn a new array of map.getRemainder, comma, the current index that we're at, which in this example is 0 and 1. So the plan, written out more formally, is that we're going to go through the loop of the array, and at every integer we will calculate the remainder. The remainder is equal to the target minus nums of I. If the map contains the key such the remainder, then we will return an array where the first element is the past remainder that we had, and the second element is the I. Else we will place that nums of I inside the array. So why are we going to use a hash map? We use a hash map because it's quick lookup. It's going to be very, very fast and efficient. Yes, we're sacrificing a little bit of memory, but in return, this is going to be much faster. The key is going to be the nums of I, and the value is going to be the index of I. If we calculate a remainder that has already been placed in the map, we have found a remainder such that the remainder plus nums of I is equal to the target. So now let's jump back and actually write out the solution. So the first thing we have to do, right, is create a hash map, and it's going to be integer, and what this is the key is equal to the nums of I, or just some value, and the value is going to equal to the index. Then we're going to go ahead and initialize this remainder. And now we have to go ahead and loop through the array. So we're going to start at 0. We're going to go through the entire array. So int is for int is equal to 0, I is equal to 0. We're going to go I is less than nums.length. And then we're going to increment it up through it. Okay. So now we're going to calculate the remainder, right? Which we know is target minus the current value that we're at. And now we're going to ask that question, right? We're going to ask, does our hash map contain this remainder? So if map.contains key of remainder, then we know we've already seen that value. We're going to go ahead and just return an array of our current index that we're at and the index of the remainder. So we're going to return a new int array. And I. Else, what we're going to do is we're going to place nums of I inside of it, because the nums of I that we're placing inside, well, first go and write it, and I'll go walk through the afterwards. So else map.put nums of I along with the index. And we're going to need a return statement. If you put this in IDE, it's going to ask for a return statement, even though we're never going to reach this because we're guaranteed to exactly have one solution. So let's walk through this again. We have a hash map, integer, right? The key is going to be the remainder, and the value is going to be an index. Then we're going to go ahead and, well, remainder is going to be nums of I. So for int I is equal to 0, we're going to say I is less than nums.length. So we're going to increment the entire array. Then we're going to calculate our remainder, and we're going to say, does this map contain this remainder? If it does, then we know that we can get the index of that remainder and then return that as an array of just the index of the remainder and the index of I that we're currently at. Else, we're going to put nums of I into the array, because nums of I might be or end up being a remainder. So quickly making sure that we should work, but sometimes there's small errors. No, this works really well. So yeah, 73.82%. I've run this before and I've gotten 99.5, so it's it depends a little bit on speed, but that's what I get for this one. Hopefully this explanation makes sense. I'm going to go back to these notes here. This is the summation of, or the summary of this problem, so feel free to take a picture of this. And yeah, hopefully this video acts as like a better explanation to this question. If you have any questions, please just put them in the comments. And if you have any recommendations on how I could explain this better, also please put that in the comments. Thank you so much for watching my very first YouTube video. And yeah, I'll continue to push out more LeetCode questions. First, going to go through the easy ones, then we're going to go through the medium ones, and after that, we're going to go to the hard ones, and ultimately, hopefully, have a little bit of fun. So thank you, guys.